Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. My name is Paulo and today I'm here for one of those long videos which are the pens from the month, from the previous month. So today we are here for pens from May 2021. And this month was amazing. I didn't notice that I got that many pens. And this month has 16 pens, I think, but we can count them now because I'm going to show them and I'm going to show some pens that compare with those that I got. So expect quite a long video without writing samples, but I guess when you come to my channel you already know that videos get long. And so let's start. And the first pen that I want to show you, I'm showing them for no particular order, it's just the order that I put here in my notes, so that's how they will come. That's it, there's no particular reason. I'm not saying one is my favorite and the other one is not, it's just how it is. And so, the first pen that I have to show you is this pen, which is an interesting, let me just change the light a little bit, I don't know if it will improve or not. The first pen that I have here to show you is this pen, and this is the Aurora 98 or the Aurora 98 Archivi Storici number 014. So these pens were made from, let me put a little bit less light. These pens were kind of a reissue from Aurora. When they went into their archives, they noticed they had some older parts of pens there, and they made new pens, and you have there the Aurora. So they assembled pens and made new editions. So this is an Aurora 98, which means it is, in this particular case, it is a cartridge pen. It could be something else, but this one is a cartridge pen, and it has this kind of hooded nib by Aurora that I really love. I really love this kind of nib, and I'm waiting for two pens of this kind to come. And I have to say that I find this pen very comparable with the older Aurora 88, which was the first model of this family. So you can see the similarities, the same kind of semi-hooded nib, but this one is a piston filler. I also have here a modern Aurora Duocard in yellow, which is a pen that I really enjoy. Very simple, well done, works great, and it has the same kind of features. It is modern, but you can see where this pen comes from. The same kind of concept. And I have to say that I need to compare this pen also with some other pen that also has a semi-hooded nib, like this. This is the Lamy 2000, and you have actually a kind of brushed steel finish. However, the finish on the Lamy is much finer, so it's not that texturized, and you see it's more like a satin feel. So this was the first pen of today's list, and it is the Aurora 98. And I will cap the pens and I will put it here. I'm not sure if it is a good idea to keep them on frame, but let's see if I can still focus everything that I'm going to show you next. Now, the next pen I want to show you is, sorry, I have here some stuff and I need to go around the tripod to be able to show you these pens. The next pen is this thing. This is a Ginhouse Centennial, and it has the checkered blue finish. It has like a chessboard like this, and it is quite a nice system. It's quite sorry, not system. It's quite a nice pattern. However, this pattern, as I showed you when I made the unboxing, is put together randomly, the colors. So sometimes this stuff, like a black big square or a big black square, may happen. It wouldn't happen if this was not random. So sometimes not random may be better. It's strange, but it's true. So you have here a fine nib, a Ginhouse Centennial, very nice pen. This is a little bit more expensive than the regular Ginhouse Centennials, like this. But it is the same pen all around, just a different pattern on the material. This pen is also comparable with this other pen, and this is it has no anything on the top, and when you look at the nib you can see it is a Schmidt nib instead of that Ginhouse nib, and this is a Moonman pen. This is the Moonman M600. It is a very similar pen with a similar pattern and material, and all these pens, even this, is inspired on the Parker Centennial Dufold, and there was a Parker Centennial Dufold with this kind of finish. And when you look at them, you really see that at least in my opinion, the material is more amazing, if this is a word. It is more spectacular on the Dufold, and what you'll see in the Dufold is that the little squares are not put randomly, so you will never see one of those big black squares because they are put there together intentionally and with the care to avoid those kind of patterns. The next pen that I'm going to show you is one pen that is a serious, really serious stuff. And this pen, I think, may go into... I don't think it may go. I think it is. I not think. This pen will be on my top pens for the first half of this year, and I guess it will be also in the top pens for 2021, not only the first half of the year. And I'm talking about this Santini. This pen is amazing. I love this pen. The story behind this is that I discovered this pen online one day. I don't know if it was in a video, I don't remember. I know that I was following Santini for a while, and then I saw one pen somewhere, and I checked their website again, and they have all new pens, and like if they started all over their business, and I saw this magnificent pen, and this was in my list, in my wish list for 2021. And because there was some advertisement money from YouTube, I was able to purchase this pen with YouTube money. Now YouTube will cut 24% of my earnings, but I was able to buy this pen. This pen is very nice. It's not inexpensive, but it is not as expensive as you may think. And it is an amazing pen. It is a piston pen. This is resin, not hard rubber, but they have it in hard rubber in very nice patterns. But this was the one that I liked and I had in my list, and this is the Santini, you can see there, Santini Italia. So this is the Santini Libra, which is this model, and the color is olive, and I love this color. This is the exact same pen that I wanted to have, and with a spectacular edition, because I contacted them. This was the pen that I would like. They allow us to choose the nib, because they have a wide variety of nibs that they make themselves in-house, these nibs, which are quite nice. It seems a little rough, but it's not rough. It's just a little condensation from the ink inside the cap, so it is very well done. It's a very nice nib with an ebonite feed. But the ebonite feed is an extra, so you need to, but for the ebonite feed you'll pay €10, so that's not a problem. And you get these nibs. They have flex nibs, modern flex nibs. And I went for a nib that was not flex, of course, because I don't like flex nibs. So this is a fine, regular fine nib, simple, but this pen is really, really amazing. They make their own nibs. They are working on these. This is amazing. So I was saying that I decided to buy the pen. I was waiting for the money of YouTube to come. I contacted them. I asked them how this could be done, and this pen was available with gold trim. And I asked them if this was available in chrome trim, and they said yes, they would put it together as I wanted, and with a rhodium plated nib, and also with all the chrome trim, and also with an ebonite feed. So you can actually choose how the pen will suit your way. And it has an amazing section. It has a very good size. Do I need to say more? I'm really in love with this pen. I really, 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 really like it. And I want to show it next to two other Italian pens, which are not small. And one is one of my favorite also, the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero Grande Sand, which has these amazing material also, so very beautiful materials, these. And the other pen that I want to show has not a beautiful material, but has a very unique, which is this one, the Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age Oversize. Also beautiful pen with a resin that has lava incorporated in it, and you can see this pen maybe it is of the same size as the Visconti, and Visconti is not a small pen, as I think you all know. Let me put them like this, maybe it's easier for you to check the sizes. This is an amazing pen. And about the nib, as I was telling you, this one is a steel nib, the Leonardo. This one is a gold nib, and in the Visconti we have a palladium nib. All nibs are number 6. You may find small size, minor size differences, or shape differences, but these are all number 6 nibs. So this pen is quite girthy. It even looks that the nib is kind of small for the pen. The nib is not small, the pen is really big. So I'm very happy, very, very happy with this pen. And as you know, my favorite filling system is not the piston filler, but I guess this piston filler will be one of my favorite pens ever, I think. The next pen is another pen that I think it will fit also. It will have a place in the list of the top pens for the first half of this year, and maybe for my top pens ever. I just need to define a number for that top number of pens, because there are lots of them in that place. And it is this nice pen. And this is a Pilot Mio 701. And you can see it is a pocket pen that becomes a full-size pen, but it has an integral nib, like this. All the section until the tip of the nib is just one piece. Then you have a plastic feed there, but otherwise this is all just one piece. It is a cartridge converter pen. It has a cartridge inside, and it has a Pilot ink that goes over the nib, and it looks a little bit pinkish, but it's the ink that goes on top of the nib. So this pen is really amazing. I bought from an eBay seller in Spain from whom I bought several pens before, and the pen is really amazing. The cap was a little bit it was just a little bit loose. It was not much loose, but I tightened it a little bit, so it's now really perfect. It is an amazing pen. One of these short Pilot pens that I like, and I have here, just for comparison, a Pilot Elite, which is the same kind of pen, also small but without integral nib, and when you post it, it becomes a full size. However, this one is much girthier than the Pilot Mio, but this is an iconic pen. And when you have one thing that I think it is amazing is sometimes when we look at pens, we tend to take some value when we see copies or inspirations in those pens. We see, okay, that pen is inspired in the other one, so it's not as good. Sometimes we feel that, sometimes we don't feel that. One case was this pen that I showed you before, the Aurora 88. It is clearly inspired on the Parker 51, but this is a piston filler and it is so well made, so nice, and the design is even nicer than the design of a Parker 51 in my opinion. So a copy of the Parker 51 is even better in my personal opinion. This Pilot Mio with the integral nib, it is an amazing pen, but it came after the first pen with an integral nib, which was this one, the amazing Parker T1, which is a pen made of titanium and also with an integral nib with section. And you can see it there. It is an amazing pen, really nice. When you look at them, obviously the section on the Pilot is longer than the section on the Parker, because this is a full-sized pen and this one is a pocket pen, but this kind of design is the same and Pilot came after, so we could say that it is kind of strange, but I would say that the Pilot is very well known, I guess as well known, as famous as the Parker. So these two pens are really kind of landmarks in a fountain pen collection. Not everyone is lucky enough to have those two, but they are kind of some iconic pens on the fountain pen history, and I'm very happy to have this one. This pen is amazing and I like it. And it has the advantage that it writes better than my Parker T1. Okay, let's move on to another pen that I have to say, to be honest, is not as impressive, and this one is the Moonman M700. It is a newer pen. It has a very nice resin. It is so nice to look at, but this pen is quite light. It doesn't look as solid as some other Moonman pens, or even this Ginhouse Centennial, and it has the same kind of a Parker dual-fold style. It has this number 6 Bock steel nib, which is a kind of a nice nib, and it is a cartridge converter pen. The pen is nice, but it could be nicer. That's my opinion. It's not very an expressive opinion, but that's what I think. I have to say that this pen is obviously similar in shape with a Parker dual-fold. This one even has the same kind of clip. And when we think about the bands, because it really has bands that are not present in the dual-fold. For example, this one has this band here in the middle of the barrel. Not in the middle, but on the barrel instead of on the base of the cap. So in that sense, it's quite different. But when I look at this Nettuno 1911 Black Sands, which is a pen that I love this pen with an amazing nib, that lost the plating, which is a bad thing, yes. So these Bock nibs had that problem, the plating came off, but the pen writes amazingly, and this pen has been inked since I got it, and this is an amazing, really amazing pen. But when you look at this, I think these kind of two rings remind me of the Nettuno, but the Nettuno is much heavier than this very light weighted pen. Now, we will move on to another Chinese pen. So far, I sometimes like to do this. We have a Italian, Chinese, Italian, Japanese, Chinese, Chinese. And this Chinese pen is a new model from Kaigul. Kaigul is the brand that has a little kangaroo as a logo. And you'll see it here on the nib, the kangaroo there with the baby. And this pen is, we can say it is almost the same pen as the Kaigul 316, but the Kaigul 316 is a Parker dual fold styled pen, and this is kind of a sailor style pen. People will say it's not a Sailor Prophet, it will be a Mont Blanc, whatever. It is that kind of style. And just to show you, I have here three pens that may remind me of that. One is this amazing Tibaldi Bononia, Martini Olive, the Sailor 1911 large, and also the Wing Sung 626, which is an inspiration in Schiffer balance. So let me just show them all kept. They all have this same kind of overall style, although these two are more pointy and don't have a band around the clip or holding the clip, and don't have a band on the bottom. But they are all of the same kind of style. When we uncap, the Bononi is amazing with the large section with almost no step down. This is the Kaigul. This is the Sailor 1911 large, and this is the Wing Sung 626. And let me just show you the pens. The only one that has a gold nib is the Sailor, and it is the more expensive one. And I have to say that these nib on the Kaigul is very juicy. Maybe it has a little bit of baby bottom. The other nibs are nice, but the nib on the Tibaldi Bononia is amazing. It's really good nib. And the nib on the Sailor 1911 is also very, very good, with a serious feedback that is very nice. It is my favorite kind of feedback, the feedback we get from a Sailor gold nib. So Sailor nibs are next to the top of my preferences. And look at the resin of the Tibaldi, it is amazing. But when you look at the resin of the Tibaldi, we also need to look at the resin of the Kaigul, which is very beautiful, or even the resin of this Wing Sung, which is also very, very nice. Okay, let's move on. And from China, we move to France for a pen that is no longer made, but I could buy one in the stores that I kind of like here in Lisbon. They still had this one in red, which is a color that I don't love, but I will have soon one pen of one of those brands, or those brands that I talked about today, in red, like a special edition that I will love it. I know that even before I have the pen. And this is a very nice Stypen Up, which is a pen with a retractable nib. It is a cartridge pen. This was a little stiff, the mechanism. I put some silicone grease and now it's working a little better. And I bought this red pen because I said I don't like it that much, but I bought this pen because I think this pen will be a giveaway soon. I already have two other pens, two other Stypen pens, Stypen Up green and the black, and I would love to have a yellow, but I don't have it. I also have this very nice, interesting Bina Magic, which is also a very interesting pen that I like. So I have here all pens with the cartridge system and also retractable nibs. These retractable nibs, are they useful for anything? I would not say so, but they are fun. Also in the same store I bought two other pens for the same purpose, which was these two Stypen pens that don't have a model number and have the same kind of nib with those holes. And it is a larger pen, and it is a cartridge pen which takes a long cartridge. It has it is kind of a strange pen, but it has a very nice shaped section. It is kind of vintage shaped, and it is a screw fit cap like this. So I bought these two because they were there and the prices were nice, and I already have a black one and a yellow one. And the yellow one, yes, it's the one that attracts me more because I collect yellow pens. So these are also nice, but I'm not planning to keep them. Now, I want to show you the next pen that I also got just for fun, and it is this, I don't know exactly to say this name, Everhart Faber, and it is the Freestyle. It is a plastic school pen, very inexpensively made. It looks kind of fragile, and it has a very nice purple painted nib. Usually in my experience with such kind of nibs, I only had yellow, not from the same brand, but I had a yellow of this kind of nibs, and also maybe a blue, and on those pens the plating or the paint came off after inking the pen. So I don't expect this to hold forever, but it is an interesting pen from a brand that no longer exists as far as I know, the Eberhard Faber. I need to research more. It has some relations with Faber-Castell, and I already had this older one. It is also an Everhart Faber, you can see there, and it is called Oriental. And it is an interesting pen with this Oriental style, and it is a piston filler, which is kind of nice. I didn't use this pen yet. I think I just filled it with water just to check if it worked, and yes, it works. It is fun. Now, the next pen, yes, I told you, these are lots of pens. The next pen is another brushed steel pen, and it is the Lamy 26P. I already had a Lamy 25P, but it went in an exchange with Wasky Squirrel, so we got the pen, and he got this pen and the 25P and another pen, and I got a Pilot Fermo that I love, so I'm really happy. This pen is interesting because it is closely related with the Lamy 2000. It has a strange clip, but when you look at the pen, it shares some similarities. Let's pick up the Lamy 2000 in steel, and you can see there are some overall similarities. They have the same kind of closing system. When you look at the sections, the shape is the same, even with the breather hole there, the same kind of nib. Actually, the nib is the same, except in this pen it is not. It is more exposed than on the Lamy 2000 and on the Lamy 26P, and in the 25P, which has the same nib, the nib is steel and this one is gold. But actually, as far as I know, you can exchange the nibs between these two pens. I want also to show you this pen because it has this shiny finish that's very hard to show with artificial light, next to a Lamy CP1 in steel, in matte steel, which is fun also, and also next to this Aurora 98 that is here. This one is more texturized, but it's fun to have this kind of brushed steel pens. Another not expensive pen that I got just because I think it looks nice is this Osama. Not this Osama, sorry. This one with these stripes, and I already had this one. So it was here to show you the similarities, but it is very similar. It is an interesting pen. It is an Italian pen with a kind of material. I don't know if it is a celluloid, but it has the seam here, and it is kind of wavy, and you can see here on this pen also. So it is interesting. It is an Italian pen, but it has a Chinese nib. So it's a very nice pen. I like the looks of it. Now, I made a little mistake by showing you the Osama already. It should go more towards the end of the video, but I was wrong because I wanted to put all the 3 Lamys together, and this one was alone, and let's go for another 2 Lamys. The 2 other Lamy that I got is this one is this, the Lamy Dialogue, which is kind of a big and girthy pen, and it also has a retractable nib. You twist the barrel and the nib comes out. It has the very well-known Lamy, Safari and so on kind of nib, but in this pen it is made of gold. It is a nice pen, big, very well engineered, with the clip retracting when you protrude the nib. You cannot use the clip that easily, and when you unscrew it back, the clip raises a little bit and it is more usable again. Like this, it's almost not usable. So it is very interesting. It is a pen that was very, very curious. This pen I got as a loan from Apple Bloom. It's not for me to keep it, so this pen will be sent back. This pen, I think it has some similarities with the Pilot Fermo, which is a capless pilot but with a twisting mechanism instead of a click button. So this is a beautiful pen, and this was the pen that I got from Wasky Squirrel, which is amazing. So if he's watching the video, thank you, and I'm loving it. So I'm very happy that I could change to pens that I was not using that much for one pen that I really enjoy to use. I have too much pens, so we need to do this kind of stuff sometime. I also have this one, also matte black, and this is the Pilot Capless in matte black, which is a very nice version, and this one has the click button. So it is also an interesting pen. But when we look at the nib on the Lamy, this pen is very big. It doesn't fit the frame when the nib is out, and this is the Pilot Capless with a much smaller nib, and it is quite shorter. And then we have here also the Platinum Curitas, which is a pen that just doesn't make it for me, but it is an interesting pen. It is girthier. It has almost the same girth as the Lamy, but it is much lighter. It has a steel nib. It is made of plastic, but it is much cheaper, and it is also retractable nib pen. So kind of interesting if you like this kind of thing. I do, but with Pilot not that much with the Platinum. And now, reaching the end of the video, I have to show you the last Lamy of the video, which is this one. This is the Lamy Ion from 2021. It is a special edition. This one has the green color and the dark green. It is a very beautiful. They made it in black and silver and two special editions before, the red and the blue. This one is the dark green. It is beautiful. I have a black version here and you can see that it is kind of similar, but this green is really amazing. This pen was sent to me as a loan from Appleboom, but I already purchased it from them. So I got the pen as a loan, but it's not anymore a loan because I already paid it. I like this pen and I will keep this one in my collection. I also have to compare it with the Lamy 2000 because they are kind of big chunky pens and I like the design. And let me just show you the nib. They are like this. It is an interesting pen with the nib, the same overall type of the Lamy Safari, but a little bit more rounded, and I think it makes sense to have a slightly different nib. However, if you want to put this nib on a Safari or the nib of a Safari in this pen, you can do it because the nibs are interchangeable, although the shape on the Lamy Safari is more angled and this one is more rounded. Now, two pens left. One is this one. This is the last pen that I got this month, and this one is kind of special because it's not special at all. It has no branding, no engravings, no anything. It was just it is already inked, as you can see. It is a pen that I bought in the flea market. The first time I got to the flea market since all the confinements and the flea market opened and I was free to go there one day after work when it was almost closed. So this was my first €2 purchase from the flea market here in Lisbon, and I'm quite happy to have this pen. Piston filler, no branding, but I like to bring these pens back to life. And when I say bring them back to life, I'm not saying they are dead, because it was not ruined anyway. It was perfectly well. I just filled it. It was ready to work. I filled it with water before, just to check if everything was okay with the piston, and it was. So then I filled it with water. So the pen is in great condition. I was just saying that sometimes I'm glad to buy these kind of pens, because I think who wants such a pen? Maybe nobody, but I like to give them that opportunity to come back to life in that sense. Two other pens that I have here to show, to compare, they are two other shades of grey pens, which is interesting. One is this, that looks like a Parker, but it's not. It is an Indian pen called Taj, and it is an eyedropper pen. It is a grey pen, much darker. I also have here another pen from my collection with the same kind of shape, and this is an Osmiroid pen. And this one is a lever filler. You can see there the engraving somewhere, or maybe you can't. It is an Osmiroid 35. And I also have another pen, this one, and this is a Sailor Procolor. So interesting greyish pens, and let me just show you what really matters. The nibs, which are all quite different, I must say, in sizes and styles. Okay, all the nibs are steel nibs, and let me show them to you. So this is the nib on the pen that I got on the flea market. It has a nib, gold-plated steel nib that has almost no gold plating left, and it doesn't have a tip. It's just a tip of iridium or some other metal. It's just a little bit folded, like twisted the steel of the rest of the nib. This is the Sailor Procolor, which has very nice sailor nib, fine nib made of steel also. Then you have the Osmiroid. You can see it there. Osmiroid 35, which is a very good looking nib. It looks like a little bit stubby. I will need to check one day if this pen is... Oops, I'm sorry, I'm just touching the camera, sorry. I need to check one day if this pen is in writing condition or not, and if the nib is good, because the nib looks a little bit short. I cannot focus it well, but I guess you can have an idea. And finally, I have here the nib of the Taj, the Indian pen. And it is interesting. This pen is new, I never used it. It is vintage, but it is in unused condition. Okay, so let's just cap these pens to avoid stupid accidents. First with the Sailor, because it's the most important pen here. Then the Taj. Finally the Osmiroid. And let's go for the last pen. And I don't have really another pen to compare, only if I got the Osmiroid again, because this one has a lever there. And I'm talking about this one, and I cannot do this because it is inked. And this is the Duquesa 1935, or Duquesa 1935 Antiqua. The name of the model is Antiqua, and it is a special limited edition of 250 pens with, you can see the brand there, Duquesa, and this, which means Duchess, it is a lever filler pen, and this pen is special because the owner of this pen found some nibs. It has some crusted ink there. You can see it there a little bit. I need to clean it. Just let me go here to a piece of paper, and I think it is a little better. But this pen, the owner of the brand, the creator of this pen, found these nibs, which has the same crown, the same logo, these Duquesa nibs, which are vintage nibs. He found them, steel nib, vintage. It looks out of alignment, but it really isn't when it touches the paper, so don't worry, it is perfectly tuned. It is a steel nib, but it is a vintage nib from 1930s. So he then he searched for some vintage clips, also for some vintage levers, and he created a pen made of acrylic to put these parts. So it is a modern pen with a modern design inspired in vintage, with vintage clip, vintage lever, vintage nib, and in their website you can choose the colors you want, and you can choose the color of this top of the cap, the color of the cap, the color of the barrel, and the color of the section. You can choose it all the same color like this, or you can choose with all the parts different, or however combination you want. They have kind of a model creator on their website, so you can create your pen, and this is an amazing thing. And I know that I'm working in new projects, which is quite interesting. This one is light yellow, so if you spill some ink inside the cap, or you be able to see it like translucency, but this is an amazing color. You have here the logo Duques. I'm really happy to have this, and I have to thank the people from Duques who sent me this pen. So if you ask me which pens of these may reach the top 6 pens, I didn't start thinking about it yet, but if you ask me which will reach the top pens for the first 6 months of this year, it will be quite hard to say. I would say almost for sure this Duques, mostly because of the concept. Using vintage parts, create a modern pen to hold those parts, to honor the past. I think that is an amazing stuff, so I love this pen. I also love the Santini Libra, which is an amazing pen, and also the Pilot Mio, which is a classic. So if you ask me which of these pens would fit that list, the top of the first half of the year, for sure the Santini, the Pilot, and this. But we are talking only about 1 month. There are 6 months. So what will come next? And I don't know. I don't know how long will that top list be, because I really like also this Lamy Ion. I'm not 100% sure of how much I like the Lamy Dialogue, which is kind of big and girthy, but it is very well made. But there are also other pens that I got in previous months, and I'm thinking about the Leonardo Pura and the Pilot Fermo, so, and the Platinum Glamour. So will I be able to create a fair list of pens? I'm not sure. I don't know how long it will be, but that's something that I will start thinking in a while. I need to reach the end of June to be able to see all the pens that I will still have and to make that top list. I'm not sure how many pens I will include in that top. I think I usually put 8 pens on that top for 6 months, and it will be a hard choice. So I hope you enjoyed to see this video. I hope you enjoyed to see this collection of pens, all this stuff, the comparisons and so on. I will put in the description the links for the pens when they are available, the links for the reviews if I already made some, but I don't think I made reviews of these pens. But I'll put links for some of them, like the Ion. You have the links for them, so go there, check them, and do whatever you want. If you got interested in one of these, feel free to buy it or not, and to tell me if one of these interested you and if you will get one. I always like to know how people react to nice pens and what are their decisions. So this is all I had to show you today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you soon here on the channel. Bye!